I saw a Red Bull tweet. So the big book says, things I know about the game and knowledge. And then the small book says, actual playable skill. I want to say I'm the opposite, but I'm actually just both books are very small. My playable skill is fairly low, and my knowledge about the game is also very low. Tell me if you've ever heard this phrase, you can punish that. Has anyone ever said that to you while you were playing a fighting game? OMG, yes. It probably doesn't happen to everyone because a large number of people actually know how to play the game. But I do not know the information, the data, the frame data. And I don't want to just say frame data, I just want to say knowledge. In fact, it was said to me by Fudo when I went to Red Bull. This was 2 years ago, and I took part in their little show called Jikoken, and they teach new players and intermediate players how to get better at the game. And I was playing Buki, right? And I think I had about 1200 LP, and I honestly haven't got much higher than that since. And I showed Fudo what I did when I played the game. He was like, oh, you seem to know how to use the controller. Your movement's pretty good. And then he said, you know what it is? You just don't have chishiki, which is knowledge. I was like, oh. It feels frustrating. It's like, oh, I know how to play the game, but I just don't have knowledge. I just need to learn more about the game. Well, I guess that will just come with time. I thought that I would just basically, over time, assimilate that. Yeah, Gio, he says that to me all the time. Caliber says it to me all the time. Everyone I've ever met, when I'm playing a fighting game, whether it's on stream, in a video, or whatever, the phrase is, you can punish that. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I didn't know that. And I always use this excuse. I didn't know that. I thought that I would just assimilate this knowledge over time. And for a little while, I was quite enjoying playing Sakura. I watched this video by Silos on YouTube. It's called like Rookie to Diamond. I think it's how to level up, and he goes through all the levels until he's reached Diamond, and then he tries a new character. He said, okay, whenever someone does a move, like they finish their combo, press standing light kick, just to check whether that move can be punished. And I was like, what is this? What is this concept? Check to see if something can be punished in the middle of a match. Why would I want to take a risk like that? And then after I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm actually figuring out which of these moves can be punished. Name any character. I have no idea what of their moves are actually punishable. How about I play a match online and then we watch the replay and find out what was and what wasn't safe. I mean, I realize it may be already too late for me at this point to try and learn all the knowledge in this game, but I want to start, at least so that, you know, when the next game comes out, I'll be ready for it. I'll have a strategy in place, how to get the knowledge and keep the knowledge. I guess what's really frustrating for me is that I kind of learn by the end of the match what was punishable, and then by the next day, I've forgotten it. I don't know if it's frustrating for you, but it's certainly frustrating for me. I'm like, this is so dumb. I learned the same thing over and over and over again, but then it's not really learning if it doesn't stay in your head. All right, we're going to play Guile. I should know everything about this character, right? But I don't. Whoops! I should probably have been able to do more damage than that, huh? All right. Before we get this started, I'm gonna go and grab a notebook. Today's the day. I know it sucks, but today's the day that we stop being stubborn. It hurts. It hurts to say it. Key display on, attack data on. All right, let's keep an eye on moves that I block. -4. Well, I'm gonna write this down now. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna say Guile, crouching, medium, kick, -4. Out of interest, what would you do at this point? You're like, okay, it said -4, but I don't know if I can actually punish it. Would you write it down, or would you just end the replay there and go and find out? Delete everything, destroy all data. Well, that's how I've been, Sketchflix, that's how I've been playing the game up until this point. And honestly, it's like fun in a way, because it's like, yeah, well, I wasn't supposed to win anyway, because I don't actually know the information. But I think 2 years later, it's getting kind of old for not just people watching, but for me as well. I'm like, yeah, for a little while it's fun to say like, oh, I'm just not that serious about it. But after a while, it's like, it's not that I'm not serious, it's that I'm just stubborn and lazy. It's getting kind of boring. I jokingly once said, and I've talked about this on stream before, there was an East Tokyo event, and I think Caliber said, well, you gotta go into training mode and practice. And I jokingly said, I'll practice in Street Fighter 6. And Caliber said, not with that attitude. And I honestly meant it as a joke, but I think people can tell when I'm telling a joke that's actually not a joke. Like, clearly I'm half serious. I'm like, oh, I'm not taking the game seriously because I'm just going to wait for the new game to come out. And I think it was true. I think in my mind, I was kind of like, yeah, I want to learn, but not enough to actually do the work. That comment stayed with me for quite a long time. Not with that attitude. And it's like, yeah, well, I just don't play the game seriously. And that's the attitude that's got me into the situation that I'm in now. Not actually getting anywhere. The point is, I'm stubborn. And I don't want to learn. Even though actually it's probably not that hard. It's just that I know that there's a mountain of it, so I don't want to get started. And you'll see this happens in every aspect of my life when it comes to paying bills, cooking dinner, doing things in general. If I see a mountain of it, I'm afraid to get started. And that's exactly what's going on here. Guile has 6 punches and kicks. He also has a flash kick, he also has a sonic boom, he's got EX versions of both of those moves, he's got overheads, he's got his super combo, he's got 2 V skills, 2 V triggers, and there's 40 characters in the game. So everything I just said, you have to multiply times 40, right? Plus, a lot of stuff is situational. And I'm not saying it's too much to learn, I'm just saying that when I see that volume of work, instead of working on it slowly, I just run away. Hands up if you've ever done that. Triangle is pause. L2 is back. R1 is frame forward. Okay. Jump in. And what is this button? Heavy punch. All right, talk to me. He jumped in and he punched me. You have to wait till he hits the ground to see the frame data. Really? Oh, I've been playing Street Fighter 2 years now. I've been playing Street Fighter 5 for 2 years now, and I still don't know this. That sounds like something that a lot of beginners wouldn't know. I've played this game for like 2 years, and yes, I am really stubborn, and yes, I don't study a lot of things, but at the same time, if you open the game and go, I need to study, and then this happens, you're like, okay, well, I've hit a roadblock. Now I don't actually know what this means, and then at that point you have to Google it, and it's just, there's so many things in the game. I've said this before in a video, by the way. There's so many things in fighting game that require you to switch the game off and go look it up somewhere else. And I think that is a lot, and I want to say half the problem. I think it's a big part of the problems in fighting games. They're like, yeah, but there's so many tutorials out there. It's just like, yeah, why aren't they in the game? This excuse can no longer go on. It's just like, yeah, but there's tons of videos about that. It's like, yeah, have you seen some of these videos? It's like, yo guys, welcome back to another fighting game video. Still boiling the water, and the cat, I need to clean up the cat's litter box, but after that we're gonna do some combos. It's gonna be awesome. Check this out. He does the combo. It's like the video's over. It's like 2.5 minutes long, and you still don't really know what actually happened. It's like, you can't say, yo dude, there's videos about there, because a lot of the videos out there don't explain it. Spot on. I just want to say, I'm not knocking the tutorials on the internet. I'm very grateful that anyone of any skill level with any expertise in making videos, I'm glad when anyone makes a video. And I'm sure that many of you have been in a situation where you've looked something up and some person with 1 subscriber and 0 views had made a video about the thing that you wanted to learn how to do, and you're grateful that they did it. So I'm not trying to knock content creators. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of video games use the fact that YouTube exists as an excuse to not create good tutorials in their games. But actually, this is where the game gets fun. You can actually sink your teeth into the fact that there's an interesting mathematical game here that you can play. It's just that it would be more fun if the game actually taught us how it worked. It is counterintuitive, but the truth is, actually, this is where a lot of the game is interesting. You know, you hear commentators saying, oh yeah, he's minus, but that space, that can be plus, and to someone who doesn't understand what that means, it's like, oh, these games are really complicated. But to people who know what that means, it's like, oh mate, I'm gonna go and open up training mode and I'm gonna figure out a situation where I could punish that thing that people think might not be punishable. that's where the game gets interesting. It's just that if it's not explained well, only the people who are already into this niche are going to delve deeper. 20, 19, 18, 17. So finally, oh, and then this happens. I'm not minus 12, I'm minus 9. Why did it jump from minus 12 to minus 9? Learning frame data takes a while and is so rewarding once it clicks through. Man, you can say that again. I mean, it's not that I find it, again, I want to stress this. It's not that I find frame data boring. It's that there's just a mountain of it. And I think anyone who looks at a mountain and goes, all right, let's start, is probably an outlier. I think most of us look at a mountain and go, I might come back when I'm ready for that. That's what I do. But I procrastinate so many times that after 2 years, I've never actually looked into the frame data, apart from I know that standing heavy kick is dangerous, so I should probably be careful if I do it up close. That's about as far as I ever go. And that's not climbing the mountain. That's like looking at the mountain from far away. The emote, you know the emote who's like doing this sideways? The ASCII emote. That's what I'm like about a 3-hour tutorial. That looks really great, but not today. The number on the left is the number of frames left until you leave the animation. The number on the right is your stun or block stun. The number on the right is the difference between your number on the left and your opponent's. Right, okay. I think I understand that. It says +9 for him, -9 for me. His animation will end in 1 frame. Now he's able to press more stuff, and I'm still minus. What you're telling me is that I don't actually know what the advantage is until he lands. All these frames, he's allowed to press stuff, but I'm not. There it is. And it's changed. Okay, I was -9, but because he continued his block string, positivity and negativity now moves into a different state. And if he does something unsafe, then ideally, he'll end up in the negative situation and I can punish it. The other important thing about this discussion is that frame data is not boring, actually. In fact, that's why this game is interesting. The game is interesting because there are situations created that are advantageous, disadvantageous, neutral situations, punishable situations, and understanding how to punish things in an optimal way under pressure. That's what fighting games are. It's what makes it interesting. It's boring because it's hard work, and there's a lot of it. So at least 21 moves per character, and there's 40 characters. So it's not that it's impossible or that it's boring and not fun. It's just there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it, and it's kind of overwhelming. Even for someone, I've been streaming and making videos about this game for 2 years. I still don't understand it. Welcome to rock, paper, scissors with characters. And it's bloody good fun, isn't it? It's actually bloody good fun. It's just overwhelming. Yeah, frame data is only half the equation. The other half is if he's +2, is he actually going to press something else? Oh man, absolutely. That's the thing, isn't it? Or the thing that I find more often in this game when I was first getting into it is -2. If someone is -2, it's kind of a mix-up. It's like they're -2, but what if they press an EX button and it comes out instantly? Oh no! It's almost like you imagine that you're at school and you've written something down, you're really proud of it. You're like, crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick, -4, and you show it to the teacher, you're like, Sensei, check it out, I wrote down some frame data. And they go, oh, very good, you idiot. They just like knock you onto the ground. They're just like, you fool, it's -4, but they can still do an overhead, and now they've got you in a mix-up and you're in the corner and now you're dead. It's like every time you do something good in a fighting game, someone punches you in the face and goes, that's what you think, but it's actually the opposite. You're gonna die now. And then you have people like Daigo who destroy the world's best with Guile's most punishable move, making it look as if it's permanently plus. You've gotta love, I mean, this is why people love fighting games. Every time you think you've got something figured out, someone goes and anti-airs with crouching roundhouse.
Learning is fun. You're fun. I am glad you're learning this because it's something you want to do.
Retribution, you legend. You know, a lot of people don't like to play bar chords on the guitar, but they learn power chords. So they learn power chords, which is not a bar chord, it's just 2 fingers, or sometimes 3 fingers. Or you learn the E chord, 2 fingers. A minor, 3 fingers. D minor, 3 fingers. D major, 3 fingers. bar chord, and you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're like trying to bar over with your index finger. And then the day comes that you actually learn how to do a bar chord, and suddenly you're not stuck at chord C anymore because you can actually go to chord F after that. I do feel like there are points in musical on the guitar where you're just like, okay, sweep picking is hard. I'm not gonna learn it today, but that doesn't mean I can't play guitar. So you play some guitars, you learn the lead solo from Master of Puppets or something, right? There's no sweep picking in Master of Puppets, but then you want to do anything by extreme. You're like, Nuno Bettencourt is the man. Oh no, what the hell is sweep picking? And you're stuck. And I feel like for me, that's what frame data is. It's like, well, I know that knowledge is a problem for me in this game, but every time I look at the frame data, I'm like, I don't really understand what it means anyway. So I can't even get started climbing the mountain because I don't get it. Or I get it, but it's such a fuzzy understanding that when I stumble, I just quit because I'm like, okay, at this point I don't really know what's going on. But then one day you just say, you know what, we're not going to play ranked, or we're going to play one round of ranked, and then we're going to spend the next hour just understanding what frame data is. And that, for me, that's kind of like one day learning how to sweep pick. Knowledge definitely adds to your confidence level in the game. Oops, screwed it up. But at least I tried it. I don't really know what to say. I don't think that studying frame data made that match easier to play directly. What I do think is that knowing how the machine works definitely fills you with a sense of confidence in all the other aspects of what you do. You know, when people sometimes ask, actually this has happened at least 2 or 3 times on this stream, people have come in and said, do you get anxious? And I think this is another aspect of tackling anxiety. I think it's widely agreed that you never really can get completely rid of anxiety. But if you have a large amount of knowledge, then the anxiety is a lot easier to deal with because there's a lot less that can come up and surprise you. Even if it is surprising, you see exactly what it is that happened. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, shouldn't have done that. Oh yeah, shouldn't have done that. It's cool. I'm definitely going to study more. Frame data makes you realize the game is kind of turn-based. You just have the option to steal turns. I like that. I like the way you've put it. There's nothing intrinsically boring about frame data. It's just how the video game works, and you kind of need to know the frame data for at least 20 to 25 moves per character, and there's 40 of them. And if you don't, well, you can start playing, but like me, you just hit this wall where you're like, I don't want to work, but I do want to get better, and you just end up stuck like I am. This has been quite an empowering stream. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, and if you're not already on the Discord, if you want to hang out and talk about arcade sticks and whatnot, you can join us on there. And if you're not following me on Twitter, I am about 550-ish followers away from 9,000. I've said this before. I have like zero interest in increasing followers on Twitter or anything, but I really like the idea of being over 9,000 on Twitter, just for the memes. I'll see you all later. Bye.